Hello, welcome to the Gary Dunn Show for November 25th, 2025. I'm your host, Gary Smith, and on today's show, we have a lot to cover, a lot of ground to cover. NCAA playoffs. Well, actually, that's all the ground. It's just a lot of ground. It's NCAA playoffs, but Coach, welcome back again. If we're doing shows at the end of November, the week of Thanksgiving, we know things are going well, and we're going to break down the action against Virginia Union this Saturday, but just a tremendous season so far, and it's not over.
Yeah, obviously the goal is always to be playing on Thanksgiving, and I think 161 teams started out with that goal, and now we're down to 16.
16.
So, an opportunity for our guys to keep it rolling. Thought we had a great week of practice last week, and hoping for the same. Now the weather here in the Mon Valley is not cooperating today, so. But no, excited to continue to play. This time of year is about moving forward, win in advance. And I thought our guys did a great job of not only our preparation last week, but handling the trip, probably our longest road trip of the year, our third straight road game. Just thought the guys were locked in and ready to go.
Yeah, this past Saturday in Richmond, Virginia, your team faced Virginia Union. And again, if you're a fan of D2 football, you know that between last year and this year, there was a realignment in the region. So CIAA is a region we haven't played, or I don't think many teams in our conference have played in a while. So I'm sure that was an extra bit of work for you and your staff to get acclimated with the team that Cal's never played in a conference. We haven't played as a conference, so not a lot of common opponents to really look at film.
Yeah, the hard part is that the NCAA selection show is at 6 o'clock on Sunday night. So you're already behind the eight ball with whoever you're going to play. Typically our weekly schedule is the coaches are in Sunday morning at 9 o'clock starting on next week's opponent. So you add that much time to that, so it's difficult already. But I tell you what, Virginia Union is a really good football team. This was their fourth straight postseason year making the postseason. Last year they went to the Elite Eight. They've got a solid program. Their coaching staff does a great job, and they did a really good job hosting the game. I was super impressed with how they handled everything, and but the prep time is a little bit harder when you're facing a team that you don't know. So it was a lot of late hours, and I give my coaching staff credit. We got that call on Sunday that we were in, and I left the office before some of that. They were still in there grinding it out. But they caught up, and I thought both sides of the ball had a good plan. I thought special teams obviously played a big factor in it, but I thought our coaches had our guys ready to go, and I commend those guys for that.
Well, you guys must have been very comfortable because you didn't give the ball pretty much to Virginia the entire first quarter. You get out, force a punt, but then force a fumble on that punt, go in. Yeah. First play after that interception, going again. So, but it wasn't quick plays. It was big play, drive, and you pretty much had a 14-0 lead at the end of the first quarter.
Yeah, great start. We moved the ball a little bit on our first drive offensively and then stalled out and had to punt it. And our gunners did a great job. Khalil Taylor was on site. Our one gunner, Jack Riley, and our long snapper were on site. And Jack Riley's actually the one that caused the fumble, and Tyler Long recovered it. So that was the start we needed. Anytime you're playing in a playoff game and you're on the road, you want something positive to happen early, right, to kind of get you going a little bit. So to get that first turnover and then punch it in offensively up 7-0. We get an interception by Amory Thompson, who did a great job, and we converted that drive. So up 14-0 after the first quarter. That's the start we needed.
And then, of course, after 14-0 start, it becomes a slugfest, a title fight atmosphere, because Virginia is not going away, and they have one of the best backs in the country. They relied on him, but your team goes in the locker room 20-17, and have to be feeling pretty good on the road in the playoff.
Yeah, we talk to our guys about weathering the storm. We know there's going to be ebbs and flows in games. We know there's going to, when you get into the playoffs, and we really look back last year to last year's run. We were down against East Stroudsburg. We were down against Ashland, and relied on some of that experience during the week that we talked about and say they're going to make plays. They're a good football team. They're 9-2. They're going to make plays. We just got to battle for 4 quarters. I thought our defense did a really good job containing their running back. He's probably the premier back in the league. I would be surprised if he doesn't win the Harlan Hill Trophy. He broke 3 runs on us. I think he had 65 or 70 yards on 3 runs. But where I was proud of our guys is we went in at halftime and our defensive coaches talked about it, and I believe he had 10 yards in the second half. Coach Turner had equated it to a heavyweight fight, and it was going to be a 12-round fight. And, you know, in the middle of the first quarter in a timeout, he's saying, all right, we're in round 3. In the second quarter, he's saying we're in round 6. And late in the game, he's like, all right, now we got to throw. It's round 12. And I thought he did a good job of keeping our guys balanced and keeping our guys understanding that he was going to get his yards, but we were going to limit it. And we were, you know, the plan was to make him pay for every yard that he got. And I thought it was probably our most physical day on defense. I thought they did a really good job of meeting that challenge.
And you held Curtis Allen 128 yards and 1 touchdown, well below his averages. Guy that came into the game 2,900 yards, and he got his 30th touchdown of the game. So definitely, you know, contained him. So we move into the second half, Coach. You know, back and forth. Let's just go to the end. Final drive. Actually, what do you want to say?
Yeah, I was really proud of the offense. I thought the offense moved the ball all day. I thought Kendrick Aganor, you know, on the offensive line did a good job in the run game. You know, we made some big pass plays. Kenny Lewis is a young man that stepped up and had 2 big catches for us down, you know, on verticals. It just kind of been that deal where in the red zone we got to convert to touchdowns. But the offense controlled the ball. I think the time of possession, I think we had it 39 minutes, if I'm not mistaken, or over 39 minutes. I thought the offense really controlled the game and were able to keep our defense fresh. You know, I think we had 1 3-and-out the entire day. We moved the ball. We flipped field position. It was an efficient offensive day, but, you know, looking back, I'd like to punch a touchdown or 2 in the red zone. But give Virginia unit credit. They played good goal line defense, and we had to settle for some field goals.
We talk about balance there, 185 yards rushing, 180 yards passing. Roman Purcell, 14 of 26, 184 yards through the air, 2 rushing touchdowns. You mentioned Agnor, 122 yards on the ground and a touchdown. And Kenny Lewis, you know, 3 catches, 95 yards. So big plays for him anytime he got the ball.
Yeah, good balance, being able to run and throw it. I thought our quarterback did a really good job. You know, Roman Purcell, he took care of the football. I think the key to the game is we didn't turn the ball over, and they did. We created explosive plays, you know, by turnover. You know, the one drive we ended up missing a field goal and hit the upright, but we got it on the -2 yard line and drove 97 yards. Now, believe me, would love to convert that, but talk about the time of possession there and flipping that field when they had us backed up at the -2 off an interception. Was a big point in that game. So just happy, you know, in this time of year, our kids are going to battle. You know, I think they were locked in. We had great workout yesterday, great meeting yesterday. You know, it's almost like we've hit our second wind.
Well, we get to the fourth quarter, and it wouldn't be a Cal game if it doesn't go down the end in some way, shape, or fashion. But just a fantastic game. But your team, you know, gave up some yards. But when it came to push them back and make that field goal a little tougher, that would have tied the game. You know, 46-yard kick in that situation with your special teams, that's got to, you know, everything you've done special teams-wise has got to factor into everything on the other side and that kick.
There's no doubt. And we talked to our field goal block team, and Coach Tony Papley does a great job of getting them to understand it is. We might not always get our hand on a kick, and I think we're second in the country right now on block kicks. But we also put in that kicker's head that they're coming. We're not going to take a play off. We're going to play that play as hard as any play. And when we started getting them back, you know, obviously they tried to reverse and we stayed home and made a great play. And then, you know, we got another tackle for a loss, and then we forced them into an intentional grounding to make that field goal. But that just tells you how hard our guys on defense played. And you know, we were going to play it to the end. You know, I'm on the headsets with Coach Salisbury saying, all right, get an overtime plan ready. But just proud of the way they battled, competed, and the grit and effort that they played with for 60 minutes. And
then, you know, you get the win, happy bus ride home, but no rest for the weary because there's another game this week, and we'll get to that. Due to the NCAA playoffs being on ESPN+, we don't have highlights this week, but we'll show the highlights from this upcoming week's opponent, Frostburg, from a month ago, so it's going to look familiar, and then we'll break down everything going on in the Division II playoffs. So you're watching the Gary Dunn Show right here on CUTV.
Third and 6, Pfeiffer picked off, going the other way. California will take this one to the house. Pick 6 for the Vulcans. Go to by Fanny inside his own 10-yard line. Fanny has a lane, and Fanny to the outside, and Fanny, no one's going to catch him. And Osman Fanny will take it all the way back for the kickoff return touchdown. Another handoff to Agnor. Still on his feet, muscling over everybody into the end zone for the touchdown. By Williams inside the 20, and Williams will bring it up the sideline. Williams with a couple of blocks, and Williams, he's got a lane, and Williams is going to go unfiltered, untouched, all the way back for the touchdown. Who else? Cook's field goal. He drills it, 21-13 now the score, one possession game. That punt gets blocked, and this one's going to get returned for a touchdown.
It's a good snap, good hold. Kick is up, and it is good. 24-19 the score, 5:09 remaining in the third quarter. Pfeiffer back to pass, looking under a bit of pressure, fires it over the middle, intercepted! Keith Charney! Back the other direction he goes, and Charney will work his way up to the 23. And Keith Charney with yet another interception. Quick hurry up here, and Agnor able to bounce it back for the touchdown. Kendrick Agnor, and the Vulcans jump ahead 2 scores.
And welcome back to the Gary Dunn Show. Right before we came back, during the break, you saw the highlights from this upcoming week's opponent, Frostburg State Bobcats, that we played as we shoot this show 23 days ago. But before we bring Coach back on, we break down Frostburg State in the second round of the Division II playoffs. Let's take a look at what happened around the country in the 4 regions. As Coach alluded to, going into this weekend, 32 teams were still alive. After this weekend, 16. And let's take a look at the Super Region 1 playoffs. Kutztown over Bentley 52-0. Assumption beating IEP 23-20. Frostburg State 21-7 over Johnson C. Smith. And then California, of course, over Virginia Union 27-24. And that sets up Kutztown and Assumption, and California Frostburg State, which we'll talk about in a second. As we move on to Super Region 2, Albany State over Valdosta State. Benedict over Wingate. West Florida over North Greenville. Newberry over Kentucky State. And then that sets up Albany State and Benedict. And then West Florida and Newberry. Moving over to Super Region 3. Ferris State over Northwood 65-14. Ashland 32-7 over Minnesota Duluth. Findlay over Minnesota State. Findlay losing to Minnesota State. And then UIndy beating Truman State 57-14. That'll set up Ferris State Ashland and Minnesota State UIndy. And then the final Super Region 4 in the NCAA playoffs. Harding 38-16 over Northwest Missouri State. Pittsburgh State 21, Chadron State 17. Western Colorado 27, Central Washington 20, and then UT Permian Basin 37, CSU Pueblo 24, and that'll set up Harding, Pittsburgh State, and then Western Colorado and UT Permian Basin. But Coach, those are, that's just for the fans out there, because I know you and your staff have been breaking down film against Frostburg State. Frostburg coming into this game, they won their first round playoff game against Johnson C. Smith last week, 21-7. They led 14-0 at halftime. Their quarterback, Jordan Brooks, 9-23, 179 yards with an interception. Their 2 running backs went for over 200 yards combined. And the first question I have is, Coach, we played them 24 days ago. Seriously, how much could your team or their team change in 24 days?
Yeah, I think Probably more than you think.
Okay.
You know, you this time of year you kind of hone in on what you do well and who you are. You know, and at least for us, we worry more about what we do well than what the opponent does. Frostburg is a really, really good football team. And I think our programs kind of mirror each other. They play really good defense. They've got 2, 3 really elite pass rushers. I think that's the strength of their defense. They can cover on the back end. Linebackers can go sideline to sideline. They're a good football team. Offensively, you know, when I say we mirror each other, they're going to be trying to be a balanced offense. They're going to take their shots. They got good skill kids. I think their run game is probably the strength right now. But play hard, tough kids, well coached, value special teams. I think our programs are very similar in the way they're built, and they're a good football team. So, you know, they may have changed a little bit. We may have changed, you know, a little bit, but it's you know, the first game has no bearing on this game.
Well, one of the changes for Frostburg when we played them a month ago, they had some quarterback injuries,
Yeah.
but right now their starter is back in the.
Sure.
So how much does that change? What have you seen on film?
Yeah, I think obviously the last time we played them, they had a young kid that was in there. So obviously I'm sure they feel more comfortable with their starting quarterback. But injuries are a thing this year, you know, every year. And we don't worry about them here. We've had a number of guys that have been out for the year and lost and you know, next man up mentality, and we got to find a way to do what those young men do well. So, you know, I'm sure they feel good about it, but at the same time, I don't think it really matters to us.
And going into this week, of course, Coach, we all know it's Thanksgiving week. There's some challenges to that, but we'll start first with the football challenge of it.
Yeah.
Well, how is it, you know, you've played a team, this will be the second time. How is it just keeping everybody focused? Because it's, I mean, we've seen it the last couple of years. We have played a couple teams. What's it like trying to keep everybody focused from the first time to the second time?
Yeah, this time of year, my job becomes a little bit easier there. You know, I think our guys understand that what playoff football is all about. You know, I said earlier, I think our experience last year has helped us. You know, but our guys are ready to play. This is why they do everything. You know, I think this is probably week 15 or week 16 that we've been together. You know, we've cut practice back a little bit. We don't bang and hit as much as we did maybe the last time we played them. It's about keeping our guys fresh and healthy, and you know, it's our guys are locked in. They understand what's at stake, and they understand that we want to be a national program here, and getting to the Sweet 16 2 years in a row puts us on that trajectory. But getting to the Elite 8 2 years in a row really bumps that up a little bit. So our guys understand what's at stake, and I'm sure Frostburg's guys do as well.
And on the other side of it, you know, obviously it is Thanksgiving week. You know, there's always, you know, a lot of distractions and stuff. It's almost like homecoming week, and then you got senior week, and then now you got Thanksgiving week. So what's the plan to try and, you know, get the players a good, you know, enjoy the holiday, but also stay. Are you cooking? And how many turkeys are you cooking?
So the plan this week is to keep the main thing. That's what we talked to our guys yesterday about in our first team meeting. The main thing is the football game. Now there are some distractions, but what we can control is our preparation. So we you know, fortunate our guys have been here and we have been here that we have a schedule that we believe in. So. You know, we're going to practice regular schedule today. Tomorrow is Wednesday. You know, the good thing I think for our guys is they don't have class, right? So starting tomorrow, we're going to adjust our wait times a little bit. But Coach Daniel in our weight room does a great job. So he's adjusting kind of what we're doing there on Wednesday. We're going to move practice up a little bit just to get them off their feet a little bit earlier. And then Thursday, we're going to feed them 3 meals. We're going to feed them breakfast. Right before our meetings, we're going to move our meetings up to 9 o'clock, so we're going to feed them breakfast. You know, we're going to go up and have a normal practice on Thursday, just a little bit earlier than we typically do. We're going to give them lunch when they get off the field. And then we give guys opportunity to go home for dinner if they're close, or take buddies and teammates home with them. And then guys that want to come to my house, my wife and daughter are going to, I would say, and me are going to host, but they're going to do most of the work. So we got a number of guys and coaches coming to our house, which we're excited about. That my wife loves this time of year, being able to provide dinner for our guys and spend some time with them. So we're going to do that on Thursday. On Friday, we're going to have our meetings and our practice a little bit earlier. On Wednesday night and Friday night, we're going to take the team to Hugo's. I know I said it last year. You know, they are tremendous people out at Hugo's on Route 40. They have been taking care of Cal U football players since I said it last year, since I was a player here. Mr. White that ran it for years and years is always taking care of Cal U football players, and they do a great job out there. So we're going to have a couple meals out there. AVI has agreed to open, our food service has agreed to open for us. So we're going to have a couple lunches on campus. So finding a place in town over the holiday to feed 105, 110 people. But the great thing about this place is that the people care, and they're going to help you do anything you can, anything that you need. AVI and those folks, said whatever you need, we'll do. They're going to provide us our pregame meal, even though the cafeteria is closed for break. Hugo's, we've had alumni that have called and donated money to help us kind of do this. He'll be mad that I said it, but Tim Susick stopped by yesterday with a donation. Tony Morrow, our vice president, is pitching in. So just, this time of year is great when everybody's behind you, rallying and supporting your efforts.
And also, the fans, you said the alumni, the fans, everything. The fan support has been great. I know had a number of people making the trip last week.
We had a great crowd down there. We had a lot of alumni. We had Jerry Snyder, a teammate of mine, was there. We had 3 Hall of Famers in the house, Vic Shandor, Sam Mannery, Brendan Fulmer. I was talking to those guys before the game. I was like, I might be able to get a couple reps out of you.
I was saying, get a couple packages out there for them.
Yeah, but a great turnout from our families to our alumni, really good, and that's what we're looking for. This game, the students are on Thanksgiving break, but when I say everybody rallying and pitching in, SAI, Student Association, has agreed to pay for the first 50 tickets of students that want to come back and enjoy it. Me and my wife are going to pay for 50 as well, so the first 100 students are going to get in free. Davis Slagle and B Graphics is offering to pay for high school students that want to come to the game. So, we need fans. I know our alumni will be back. We need fans in the stadium. We haven't even talked to we're hosting the game yet. We haven't even said it. So I'll let you say that, and then I'll get on to try to get people here.
All right. Well, here's the game day information. We got a lot. So, Coach, you have a few seconds to do your final pitch. But NCAA second-round playoffs, Adamson Stadium this Saturday at noon. Pack Adamson Stadium. Tickets are $10 for adults, $5 for students. That is digital cashless on-site only, and then $5 parking. That is cash only. If for some reason you can't be there, the game will be on ESPN Plus. It'll be the CUTV coverage streamed out on ESPN Plus. So make sure get your passwords, or get some of your relatives to share passwords, or just come to the stadium. Tailgate lots, I think, are opening at 10 or 10:30. All the information will be on calvulcans.com. But I know last year, again, blessed to have a situation where we're home over this weekend, but going to the parking lot last year, the week of Thanksgiving, very festive atmosphere. I mean, people are enjoying it.
Well, here's the way I look at it.
Okay.
Right? Everyone's going to spend Thanksgiving with their family.
Okay.
Probably do some Black Friday shopping, right? By then you're sick of your family, right? Grab the boys, get up here. Ladies, bring mimosas, whatever you got to do, but let's get to Adamson Stadium. This group, and I've been saying it all year, is a fun group to watch. They're very appreciative of everything this institution and everyone does for them. But we need fans. We need students to come back. You're going to be sick of seeing your parents after Thursday and Friday, right? Come back Saturday morning and let's fill that parking lot with a great tailgate. Like I said, I know B Graphics is going to do a tailgate, and they're trying to get some high school guys here. I'm currently having our social media team tweeting at all the student groups, but Thursday, great for family. Friday, do a little shopping, and time to get back to Adamson
Vulcan
Stadium.
Saturday.
So let's go.
Vulcan Saturday. The weather forecast, you're going to want to bundle up a little bit.
It's going to be 65 and sunny.
It may not be 65 and sunny, but I don't think there's any rain in the forecast.
No
but just
rain,
bundle
I
up.
just
It's going to be a great day, and it's football weather. It's November. It's a pretty big regional game. Take out the national implications. There's only about a 90-minute drive between Kyle and Frostburg, so a lot of bragging rights. And again, as Coach said, only 16 teams playing in the country, only 8 sites. Adamson Stadium is one of them, so take advantage and come see a very, very good college football game this Saturday.
And I give our administration credit here. This time of year, some of the other sites are bumping their ticket prices up and jacking the prices up on our folks. Our athletic administration has kept it the same. I mean, where else are you going to go spend 3 or 4 hours for $10? I appreciate that. It's not for us. It's about putting our guys in a good position. And I appreciate our athletic administration for that. I'm throwing a lot of thank yous out this week. I don't know if none of you
It's like an award show today.
Yeah, right. But no, it's like I said, everyone around here pitching in to give our kids the best experience, and that's what it's all about.
Well, I know our crew is excited to do another playoff game at Adamson Stadium, and again, get those tailgates going around 10:30. Have some pumpkin pie left over. If someone hands me a turkey sandwich going in, I'll have one turkey sandwich because I don't want that tryptophan to get me. I don't think any of your players allowed any turkey on Saturday.
We're not
yeah,
eating turkey
no
on
turkey.
Saturday. We're going to eat our normal pregame meal. But no, it's going to be a great day. And, we've played 3 straight road games. So, I know at the end of the year last year we had, 7 straight home games. And folks were now hopefully everybody recharged their batteries after 3 weeks of us being on the road. And our alumni outreach has been phenomenal. I know our alumni will be here, but let's get some students back. Let's get some local high school guys here and girls here, and let's have a great day at Adamson Stadium.
Once again, the game is at noon at Adamson Stadium. Tickets $10 for adults, $5 for students, digital cashless on site, and then $5 parking cash only. And again, go to calvulcans.com. That'll have all the pertinent information. And again, if you can't make it, if there's people out of state, the game will be streamed on ESPN Plus. So make sure you have your login and password ready. So for
Cal U students, bring your ID. You're swiping to get in.
That's a good point. That's why he's here. He's not just a football coach. He's a good co-host there.
Promotions director.
But hope to see a very packed Adamson Stadium on Saturdays. For Coach Dunn, I'm Gary Smith. We'll see you Saturday for the NCAA Division II second round playoff game between California and Frostburg.